sure that what they tell you they will deliver in those fancy brochures and on those websites is really happening. And if they are not delivering on their mission, the NESI survey helps them correct the course and do something about it. So you need to be aware of people who are spending time and money to take advantage of NESI. And you can do it by looking at USA Today and NESI. There's a project that USA Today partnered with them so they can easily pull those statistics together and give them. So the NESI questions that the colleges have put together that are focusing on 5 different areas are the same kinds of questions that you can ask as you are at the start of this process before the enrollment time. NESI looks at the level of academic challenge, it looks at active and collaborative learning, student-faculty interaction, enriching educational experiences, and supportive campus environment. And under those 5 headings, there's a series of questions that the survey asks. On the brochure that you can pick up later, there's a tear-off that I have provided for you that has questions like that. These are exactly the kinds of questions that students can ask of college representatives that come here to your high school, or that you encounter when you go to a college fair, or when you do campus visits, or as you are perusing materials that come into the house or looking at websites. If you keep these questions in mind and then look for the answers in those places, you are going to begin to see differences in one college or university versus another, and that they're not all the same. Some of the questions are going to take you down the road of the academic areas to determine academic strength. Others are going to look at student activities, co-curricular activities, and support services, and these are all important parts of the college search process. In addition to NESI, there are also other ways to go about this. You can think about asking about campus diversity, and communities can be diverse in many different ways, and you need to pay attention to that. When I was at McDaniel College, one of the 40 in the book, there was a very large deaf studies program, and many of the students that came to the college only signed. They did not speak. That's a very different kind of diversity. And the students then, that were speaking students that came to the college, were fascinated to begin to understand deaf culture and to begin to learn sign language. They didn't expect to encounter that kind of diversity, and they certainly were enriched by it. So diversity can take many forms, and you need to ask the questions about what is the richness of the community that you're going to be part of as you come. That's one way of looking at it. If you're concerned about whether or not these colleges are in good shape, and certainly coming off of last year's economic downturn, it's a legitimate question to ask. You can go and find out about Standard & Poor's and Moody's ratings of colleges. It's not the usual way that you might think about looking at colleges, but go ahead and put in a search engine the name of a college and then put in financial rating, and you will be able to look and see what was it that the rating agencies were going after when they came on those campuses to do the evaluation and give them those ratings. It's important information for you to know about. It's another way to make the judgment. You can also start to ask about what is happening as far as the residential environment of the community. Particularly if you plan on going someplace far away. You want to find out how many other people are coming from far away. Are you going to look around and find out that not many people reside on the campus? Or if they do, are they there on the weekends or have they taken off? Here's the way you can find that out. Ask how many first-year students get a car permit. It's a really good question, because when first-year students get cars, often it's because they can get home. They live within close enough driving distance that they can return home. And that can be a problem if you are from far away and you don't have a car, because you're going to look around on Thursday night or Friday morning or Saturday morning, and suddenly the residence hall is very deserted. So this idea of residential campuses is a critical one, but then going beyond it to make sure of where students are coming from will help you come up with the fit. There are lots of other questions that are part of the tear-off, and I hope that you'll take a chance when you get that to look at these questions and begin to use them. The scary part for parents sometimes is that I can suggest a different way to do the college search than what you might think. And here's the reason why. Often 16 and 17-year-olds, when I encounter them, say to me, "I don't know what happened. I was going along just fine. I was in my sophomore year. I was so happy. I got to my junior year. Things were going pretty well. And then I woke up one morning and everybody started to ask me the same question. So what are you going to be? What are you going to do? What's your major going to be?" And they said, "I don't know what happened. I don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up. I don't know what my major should be." And apparently I'm supposed to know in order to do the college search process. And I assure them that they don't need to know that. So let me do this exercise for the parents that are here this evening. I want you to honestly think back to when you were 16 years old. I'm 17 years old. I know sometimes I have a hard time remembering that. Okay, let me think about this. And think about what you thought it was that you were going to be or do when you grew up. And I want you to raise your hand if you have indeed done that with your whole life to this point. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. I have done this in audiences of 700, and I get about 20. And usually it's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 in an audience this size. And clearly also this is changing, because what we do know is that people are rarely in the first job they start anymore in our current society, and that they change jobs many times in their lifetime. So the idea that probably you didn't know, or you changed your course, we shouldn't then expect that our children will know at 16 and 17 what it is. They might have an idea about what they're good at and what they don't like, and some subjects they've already encountered in high school and what they have good aptitude for. But as far as knowing for sure what that thing is they want to be, it doesn't usually work out. Pre-med is a great example of this. So many students are caring people, and they've encountered a doctor along the way or some experience, and they're good in science in high school, and they think, that's it, I'm going to be a doctor. And then they get to college and they begin the pre-med course of study. And suddenly, after that semester of calculus and biology and chemistry and all those other science classes, they may decide that they actually don't want to be pre-med anymore, and many of them do. And sometimes that's harder than the student who comes in a little bit more undecided, decides to take the core of courses that everyone will have to take, encounter college-level courses, and then make the decision about both interest and aptitude. It's a little bit of a better way to do it. It scares parents when I suggest that sometimes students can do this college search by using the ultimate Frisbee test, as I call it. And what this is that co-curricular activity that drives many students. So they're in high school and they already are doing something they love, and they know they want to continue it. And it may be that they want to continue it as a part-time activity, and it may be something that they want to do often when they're in college. Ultimate Frisbee is an interesting one. Kids that play Ultimate Frisbee love it. There's a lot of club Ultimate Frisbees that exist at really fine colleges and universities that will narrow down the list of more than 3,000 schools to several hundred and make your search a lot easier. So it's not a terrible way to begin the college search process, because students do more than just academics when they're at college, and the co-curricular pieces are important to them. So it may be that doing that search that way works well. I did immediately get challenged last night by a family who said that rodeo riding was really not the way to choose a college, because when you look at the list of colleges that have competitive rodeo riding, sometimes they are not necessarily the best places to do a college education. So, okay, maybe there are some exceptions to that way of doing it. But again, those questions will lead you through how to ask about the co-curriculars as a way to narrow the search process down. Loren Pope spent his career trying to speak to families about the fact that there are so many wonderful options for higher education out there, and we should not become so stressed out and anxious about the process, either on the student side or the parent side, thinking that there aren't choices for you. When he was education editor of the New York Times, he heard, and this was in the late 60s, oh no, I'm not going to get in anywhere. And he thought that was so absurd, that in a country like this one, with the richness of higher education opportunities, that anyone would say, I'm not going to get in anywhere, was